game ready, steady aim at the target. I'm flooding the market, a break from the garbage. An artist, sensitive about mind pardon. No margin for error, flawless be bearer. The black cat goddess, you walking with a panther. Painting these pictures with words like...
Hey, it's your girl, Madam Money, aka Trap, and welcome to the official Sorting the Game album review of Conway's From a King to a God Deluxe. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let's get it. Now, we all know that this year we have seen more deluxe projects than ever before. It's become a cheat code, you feel me, to get more streams on a project. Now, I am usually a fan of deluxe albums because they always let a little time pass before we get a deluxe version, but not in the microwave era. Everything is still just like that. So with that being said, I really wasn't even going to listen to this project, to be honest with you, because I was like, you know, it's nothing more that Conway could have brung to the table, you feel me, after dropping such just a dope project and From a King to a God. Like, you know, this is, in my opinion, his first mainstream attempt, and he broke into the top 200. You feel me? Griselda has had a very, very strong year chart-wise, just being themselves and staying in their lane. They have definitely managed to get that attention and that highlight, and it's only going to go up from here. You feel me? I believe From a King to a God came in at 164. Pray for Paris, I think, was at 120 or somewhere in that range. And Burden of Proof actually is the highest charting album out of the three, coming in at number 64 when it drops. So salute to all of them on that. Like, it's these steps that's going to change the course and the curve of music, of what is going on right now, that we all, you know, we all calling for a change, but we got to make sure we support the artist properly enough so that it can happen. Because the only thing that stands, like the test of time, is these charts. You feel me? So that's why I'm such a play hard for the charts, and, you know, people being mentioned and mentioned properly and in the right way. But I'm so happy that I listened to this. Now, it's crazy as hell because Benny the Butcher and Conway, they just dropped a title Griselda concert that was so dope. Salute to them for that, because this is the content that we actually need. Like, yes, we've been having versus battles and stuff like that, but for these artists right here that are such like tour gods and always consistently touring, that they always have accessibility, you can always go and watch them in person, to, you know, have the effects of what's been going on in this pandemic. This has really like hurt the fans on that type of a relationship with the artist, because, you know, anytime you turned around that you could catch one of these guys in concert, if not all three of them, you feel me? But it is what it is. So I do respect them putting down something like that for the culture. Salute the Title for doing this type of thing. But, you know, the other genres, they are consistently doing stuff like this, having one-on-one concerts with their fan bases. This is something that moving forward in this, we're gonna have to try to, you know, bring some more to the people. You know, we always thirsty, we always hungry out here. Now, I am so happy I actually listened to these 5 tracks that was added onto the deluxe version of From a King to a God. Now, the first track on here, Raw Oysters, you feel me, let me know sonically, it let me know that they could have took this album in a whole different direction, and they chose to go the mainstream route, and it actually worked. And when I say mainstream, don't get the game twisted, confused, or fucked up on none of that. I'm just talking about, you know, the beats on there was a little bit more upbeat, you feel me. We did have tracks like Front Lines and stuff like that on there that was original and true to, you know, what Griselda brings to the table and what Conway brings to the table personally. But, you know, it was a whole nother style involved here, so we all know that. We're gonna agree on that. Thank you. Raw Oysters, though, and this is crazy to me because like, this track is a straight diss record, but we don't know who he's dissing. Like, we don't know who he's dissing. Now, when I first heard this, I was like really like scratching my head, like, what is going on here? Because who are you talking to? Now, it's so direct, like, but indirect. It had me thinking that maybe it was some discourse in, you know, the Griselda camp, but there can't be that heavy of a deal for him to take these type of lines, going like, take this route on there. It's something else going on here. So the bar that stuck out to me the most, even though he says a whole list of things on here, Rank they albums higher than mine when they know niggas stole my style. Now, rank they albums higher than mine. That right there, you have to really sit and think about who we as a hip hop, the real hip hop community, whose album is being ranked higher than From a King to a God's right now. Now, if we talking about the Griselda camp in itself, like, you know, Burden of Proof is not being ranked higher. This is one of those albums that everybody is doing this on and stuff like that. I personally enjoyed it. You know, Pray for Paris, Who Made the Sunshine, Fly Guard 2. Nobody is ranking these albums higher than From a King to a God. So, like, who... So that just like dismisses the circle, right? So who that like around and right outside the circle could this be, like, in reference to? And the only thing that really comes to my mind is Freddie Gibbs. Now, like, Freddie Gibbs is on this album already, on, you know, Seen Everything but Jesus. You feel me? They work together on all the projects that basically have come out to Griselda. Freddie Gibbs has popped his head out on, you feel me? But it's something not sitting right with me just because he's saying rank the albums higher than mine. And he's really just trying to say, like, son stealing his style and getting all the credits and the accolades for it. And I really just can't digest it being somebody other than Freddie Gibbs. I don't know if it's just like, you know, the Alchemist connection with, you know, having a executive produced project by Alchemist. That's something that they've been doing over there. And here, you know, Freddie Gibbs come and does the same thing. It's getting more recognition than they have off of some of these projects. Because I just really can't wrap my head around it. The only other person in the camp that had an executively produced project by Alchemist was Boldy James. And I know, like, we're not ranking Boldy James' album higher than his. So I really don't know what's going on here. I want everybody to put in the comments what they think is happening here. Because if it's not, if you're going to say one person in their camp, like, you're going to say, oh, this is a West Side Gun, you feel me, shot at him, you have to throw Benny right along in there with it. So I don't think that's happening here, but, like, to be like, to have somebody on your album and then you drop a deluxe with a track on there that might be dissing them, maybe this is why this didn't make the album. You feel me? I don't know. But I know sound wise that this is something that could have been on there. We could have had this extra track on there. You feel me? But I'm really perplexed about who is he coming at so hard, because he seemed like a very direct person. Where does these sneak distance come in? And like, who are you talking about, Conway? All right. Next track on here, Amina's Van. And this is a reflective track. This is him on the come up, you know, for artists like Conway. You know, he always references his one incidents that happened in his life when he had got shot. You feel me? So to hear some other stuff from him about him on the come up, that was really dope to see. Talk about fucking shorty in the back of a car, whatever have you. I thought that was really just dope. Something that's needed. And I don't know if, like, it would have fit right on the original From a King to God, just because like, it's just a more up vibe. Like, it's a more up vibe, even though he has tracks like that touch on certain things like this. And maybe it was just too many of those tracks, so maybe that's why I didn't make it. I don't know. I'm just saying. Next track on here, Crack in the 90s, produced by Rock Marciano. This has an artist on here, Jay Skeese, you feel me, and Love the Genius. Now, like, Jay Skeese, he's also on the last track on here as well. But this was like, everybody has such a long verse on here. This is like a long track for only 3 people to be on it. And I'm thinking that's maybe why it didn't make the final cut, because it is a long track. It's a lot to digest when you're getting down into it. And plus, it needs to be polished a little bit more. Even though everybody's on here doing their thing, especially Love the Genius, it needs to have that little polish on there. So if he's shooting for mainstream success, like, everything has to be polished. Just like I said, to this day is no other, like, more polished record than Tanner Talk 3 coming from the Griselda camp. So Love the Genius on here, she's the standout. She has a project coming out soon. Make sure y'all tap into her. Know the smell of coke burning like an unclean furnace. Like, everybody knows what an unclean furnace smells like. You feel me? On the come up, she knows the same thing. Just let me know she's been around. And it's nice to see them with another female, like, around and stuff, that's holding her own and spitting these, like, real trap bars in her own respect here. I really liked Crack in the 90s. They was all blowing on there. Track number 18, Serena versus Venus. And I'm going to tell you straight off the rip, I personally did not need this track. You feel me? I do not need anything remotely like this coming from Conway. I'm not going to look at him in no different light. I'm not going to be the one to be like, oh yeah, you know, you feel me, on the right night, you could spit some shit like this and you're going to get it off. No, that's not going to happen here. So I see why this didn't make the project. That's just not one of those things that I need from him. I doubt, haven't heard anybody or seen anybody speaking about this particular track neither, because it's like so out of pocket for him. Like, leave that to Benny. Benny could fall into that type of shit sometime. You feel me? Westside Gun can't even do that. Even if he on his LL Boo J type shit, he can't even pull no shit off like this. So let's just leave this type of shit alone just for right now. We can go back to it though. All right, last track on here, Teflon Digs, again featuring Jay Skis. Derringer instrumentals just speak to my spirit, and that is Conway on here. So you know, that was a dope track too. Like I said, I don't think like, given the other features that's on this album, that these other features would have held up against them. These are some dope records on here though, but I don't think they would have just fit into the original From a King to a God Deluxe. But I'm about to get out of here. I just want y'all to tell me for real, who do y'all think Conway is talking about on Raw Oysters? You feel me? Which one of these tracks, or which tracks do you think should have made From a King to a God, and not taking nothing out? Don't take nothing out from the original work. Just tell me which tracks on here could have made the final cut and could have possibly been on there in your opinion. But I'm about to get out of here. I'm Madam Money. You can follow me on Twitter and IG at Madam Money Says. That's MADAMMONEYSAYS. I fucking love beef records. Like, I love a diss track, dog. Well, I need to know who you're talking about moving forward. Hopefully, I don't know, shot fired at somebody. I hope it come out and it's not like nobody that we're thinking about, but he have a real valid reason for saying that, because I would hate to think that, like, you know, it's some type of discourse between them and Freddie Gibbs over, like, you know, The Alchemist. I don't know, but peace, you guys.
Focused and competent, equipped to hold my own on any continent. More sauce than condiments. Incontinent, I'm